Hello everyone, today I'm going to be tutoring you on basically how to create 3D projections in Blender, which if you don't know is basically where you take a photo and you make it like you see this box. It's basically like you do this. This is pretty nice looking. First, we have to get a program called FSpy. FSpy basically lets you, how do I put it into words, map out a perspective and image and import it as a camera into Blender. So I am basically, this is the Y value, this goes side by side. So what I'm basically going to do here is, I don't know if this is the way you've done it, this is just how I've always done it, is you outline the floor, corner to corner. And it'll give you this little thing here. So you can tell, if you got it right, you can change it to a cube under 3D Guide here, if you so choose. And that looks alright. I just need to adjust this a little bit. So that seems to be pretty lined up. So what we're going to do, is we're going to do save as. I'm just going to name this hallway. Okay, so now here's what we're going to do. You need a plugin called FSpy Importer for Blender. And in order to import that as an add-on, you have to go into your Blender preferences by going to Edit Preferences. There's an Add-ons tab here, and you can press Install. It should come in a zip, and then you can just import it like that. And then it'll enable it for you. Sometimes not. Sometimes you'll search like FSpy, and it should be right there. So now, we're going to go up here to File, we're going to press Import, and we're going to, should be at the bottom as FSpy. We're going to find that project we just saved. Find my thousands of folders. And then now, it has a camera with a reference image of where everything is. That should line up with the floor. If not, you can go back and adjust it as you choose. But it should align up with the floor grid it has here. For some reason, it likes to offset the X, so we're gonna not do that here. Get rid of the other camera and the light just for, convenience sake. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to outline the floor here by doing this. Well, so now what we're gonna do, I have a whole reference image for the material here. We're gonna go into here. We're gonna take all these planes, or however you built this, and we're gonna join them. Okay. There you go. So, have this now. What the fish do we do with this? So, we're gonna make a new material. Fish this principled BSDF. So first, we're gonna get a texture coordinate and some mapping. Oh yeah, first though, we do need to go into here and select all of this, and then do UV Smart UV Project. Hey, so Safi from the future here. So if your UV looks really, really tiny, like mine does, I recommend expanding it as much as you can to the whole, UV, the whole image. Try and expand it as much as you can onto that image, because otherwise it'll be really tiny and really pixelated depending on the resolution of your image. So I do recommend doing that if Smart UV Unwrap decides to make it really tiny for whatever reason. Just use this scale tool, but make sure it's in the bounds of the box. Just try to expand it as much as you can, like the image I'm showing here. From the camera. And that'll do that. So now we're going to go back to shading. We're going to add a image, or the mapping. Connect the camera to the vector. And then you're going to grab your image texture, or not camera, we're going to connect window to there. You're going to grab your image that you used for this, which should be this, because that's the one I used. And then an emission texture. I use a principal BSDF here, but that's not important. Usually you want an emission so that way the lighting of the image doesn't affect anything. And we're gonna output this. And you'll think, probably. Oh wait, you also need to connect the vector up into here. You think, well, why are we doing this? This just looks stupid. So make sure you're on the camera here. We're gonna go back to layout. Make sure you're in the actual camera. And in material preview. Now we're gonna switch to cycles. If you have a lower power computer like I do, don't let that scare you. That doesn't matter because we are just going to, we don't have to render with cycles at all. You can keep it in material preview and it won't render with cycles at all. See, I have a low-end PC and it's doing just fine. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go back to shading and clean this up a little. And we're gonna grab another image texture and create a new image. It has to match the resolution of the original one. That one is 400 by 500. Wow, that's horrible. But for tutorial purposes, it works. Let's just make your empty texture. Make sure it's the same resolution as the original, and you have it here. Make sure it's selected, has the white outline on it like this, and you're in the camera view, this button right here. You can go over to the render tab, and you're going to go to bake right here. Turn everything off except for direct, indirect, and emit. That's all you want to have on. And then press bake. Make sure you have the object selected too, of course, and this. And so it's going to bake that texture onto there, into that image right there, that empty image we created. So now we have this thing right here, this little doodad. So we're going to link that up. It has worked. So now, if we turn off the reference image in the camera here, you'll see it's a tad bit blurry, and on the outside it looks a little ugly. But from the camera's perspective, it looks just like the image. And mine's a little low quality because I chose a low quality image. But if you have a high quality image and you do this, it looks great 100% of the time. It's a great way to map real images to real things. Takes a while, but once you have it figured out, it really doesn't take that long. Ta-da! We're gonna save this as Shiggly Wiggly. And you can do whatever you want. You can change this to a principled BSDF if you want, and then you can add your own lighting on top of it. Yep, I would recommend upping the resolution, getting a good resolution image, but that's how you do it for the most part. If you know what you're doing, it's pretty easy. If you don't know what you're doing, it's not as easy, but you can figure it out. I'm sure you're smart. So,